We are here with Kayla Walker. Kayla, how are you?
I'm good. How you
Good.
doing?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. Can't complain. I am enjoying the weather. It's been a beautiful day so far, so I can't complain at all.
Yes, I'm loving it.
So tell us, Kayla. Kayla, tell us about who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I am I am a girl that is finally coming out of her shell, and I want to inspire the world
Oh.
as well. I have been through some trauma. I lost my brother in 2019, and then I
My
lost my
condolences.
thank you. And then I lost my mom in 2021, and that is like my little family who I grew up with. So it was really hard for me to go through those losses. And I think what those losses taught me was that I had a lot of healing to do outside of just grieving their deaths. And since then, I have learned a lot about me, and the importance of being intentional in your healing journey. Because I've seen many people that have lost parents or siblings, and it's enough to really make you lose your mind or become a different person. And I think for me, it has allowed me to become a new person, but I'm stronger, I'm wiser, and I want to help other people also heal through their trauma or whatever issues they're going through, because I know going through it that is possible. And that's where L.I.V.E comes from. So L.I.V.E is my brother's nickname. His name was Anthony Williams, but they called him L.I.V.E because that's who he was. He was L.I.V.E.
Was he like Mr. Live or?
It was just L.I.V.E.
Just L.I.V.E.
L.I.V.E.
Okay.
I was L.I.V.E.'s little sister. So and I love that. Like my brother, he's 10 years older than me, but we were very close. Like we would talk about everything under the sun.
So I imagine how losing him could be very traumatic for you.
Yes. Yes, and it was very unexpected. So my brother had sickle cell anemia, which, and there's two forms. So I know that like T-Boz, she got sickle cell.
She has sickle cell, and I have a few relatives, well, one or two relatives that also have sickle cells.
Yes, so his was the severe one. His was the one that has a life expectancy to it. So he was 37, 38 when he passed away. What am I talking about? 48 when he passed away. So it was extremely hard. Like I felt like I was living in a different world when he passed away. Like from the day that it happened, and it's crazy because the day that it happened, before I found out, I was already experiencing I have high blood pressure. So I felt a little off. I felt dizzy, and I'm like,
More elevated than usual.
Yes, and I had vertigo before, so I'm like, maybe the vertigo is coming back.
It's funny how our bodies can tell us about those things. I remember not to deter from it, but I remember when my grandmother passed away. She was millions of miles away, and I had a sense like something just was not right. And like similarly when you talk about with your brother, when he is like going through things, passing away, unfortunately you feel it, and our bodies can tell us, especially when you're that close, go from talking about everything all day, all the time, to having to be separated.
Yes, it was crazy, and it's crazy. Like it's so crazy. So my blood pressure when I ended up going to the hospital was crazy. So regular blood pressure is supposed to be 120 over 80.
Yeah, 120 over 80.
Mine had to be like 150 over 100 something.
Oh my gosh,
it was high
elevated,
enough for them. When they took it, they immediately took me.
To the hospital?
They immediately took me to the back.
Oh boy.
My mother was calling me, but I was like, I can't answer because she's gonna know where I am, and I'm not good at lying. You're gonna hear all the beeps. She's gonna know. So I'm like, I'm not.
That'll give it away.
Right? I can't answer the phone.
They're still getting out of
Let me just figure out what's going on, and then I'll call her afterwards. And then my cousin called me, who was like a brother who was like my brother's brother, and I was like, okay, I'll answer for him because it's okay.
Yeah.
He called me. He was like, yo, where Aunt? I was like, oh, I don't know what you mean. He should be at work. I don't know. And he hung up. He was like, all right, bye. Because I think what happened was my aunt knew that I was at the hospital.
Mhm.
So when she spoke to him and he heard I was at the hospital, he thought my brother was at the hospital. So I must know something.
So he thought that you knew.
He thought that I knew. And I'm like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. So my aunt comes to the hospital and tells me what happened.
Oh boy. That must have been like so traumatic to have to deal with while going through your blood pressure being high and then hearing that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes, and it's just like I've, never losing someone so close to you, like your emotions are uncontrollable.
That's literally like your whole world. Your whole world.
Yes, like what? But God works in mysterious ways because the fact that I was in the hospital. Probably was the best thing for me
at that point in time.
At that point, for them to be able to give me something to calm me down because my blood pressure was already high. The doctor came in and spoke to me. He was like, honestly, like it seemed like it was elevated. Not only given what happened, but there was also some other stressors that were going on that I expressed, and this was like the height of it because I had prior to that I had lost. 2 college friends, and then my mom's boyfriend.
That's a lot of loss to have to deal with, especially within like a short amount of time.
Yes, and it's like, and it's your body. I feel like for me, my body had gotten used to dealing with so much stress up until a point, and that's why my blood pressure was so high because it's just like I'm going, everything's fine, I'm okay. Like it's sad, I cried, and now I'm okay, and then life happens, and then my brother passes away, so now I'm forced to deal with my grief. I can't just say I'm okay.
Yeah, you can't just put it on the back burner. Now when you're faced with it, and you kind of have to like handle it.
You
so
have
to speak. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not okay. So going through, that loss was the first time I started to go to therapy. And therapy really shed light on a lot of other stuff.
Therapy is a game changer.
It is.
I would advocate for therapy for anyone.
Everybody, go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
I was a therapist. So I was a therapist, and you go to school and you learn all these things, and you think that you okay. Like I know what's going on. I know, what has happened in my past, and I feel okay. I'm good.
Listen, even a therapist needs their own therapist.
Yes. Because
like a doctor needs to go to a doctor.
Yes, we be delusional. And so therapy really changed my life because it taught me to allow myself to feel. It's okay to not be okay. Your feelings matter, and you have to take care of you before you take care of everybody else.
Yes. That is so true. I know it seems so cliche. People talk about you can't pour from an empty cup, but it really is true. No, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you don't have those like skills and those strategies within yourself, it's hard to pour into other people. When you're not at your best, it's hard to pour into other people because your cup isn't filled. Yeah. So then you can't pour into all of those other areas like being a mom, a wife, employee, and whatever else have you, all of those roles that you're in. So it is important to fill your own cup first.
Because you end up hurting yourself. And I realized, outside of losing my brother, it was just like there's so many other avenues where I'm putting other people before me. I'm saying yes to things that I'm not okay with because I want to keep the peace and I want everyone else to be happy. But what about my happiness?
What about your own happiness?
Yes. So therapy really taught me to prioritize my time, and it's okay to say,
it's okay to not be okay.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay to just, I had so many days where I'm just like, I'm not okay today. I need you to take the kids and just give me some time.
Even if it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that time alone for you, it can work wonders. And as the time increases, you feel better, but just having a moment to yourself sometimes is just like, this is what I needed.
It's so needed, and not to feel guilty.
Yes, not feel guilty. Because how many times, especially as Black women, we are so busy handling all of the things that sometimes when we just take a break for ourselves, we feel guilty because we're so used to being on go mode, taking care of everyone else, where we're just like, oh my God, now I have to pour into me. What's gonna happen with the kids? Who's gonna make dinner? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that?
All these things. I was just re-listening to Power Moves by Sarah Jake Roberts. and it talks about like how we're programmed for certain things, and it was like some of us are programmed to fear scarcity, laziness. So when we need our body to rest, we feel guilty about it, and we are always on go mode, and also fear, like we always want to be like people pleasing.
Yes.
So we give to others and then build resentment when we don't get that same thing back because we've done overextended ourselves, and we expect other people to do the same. But no, because they set boundaries. They know
exactly
what
they're doing. They know they're prioritized. So we have to learn to do the same within ourselves to know like this is a boundary that I have to set.
Yes.
So L.I.V.E was born. Tell us more about L.I.V.E, because it was birthed out of a season where you were going through a lot of pain and trauma, having to overcome like deaths with your brother, your mom, and other classmates. L.I.V.E was born. So tell us more about L.I.V.E and where you see L.I.V.E going.
Yeah. So L.I.V.E, I just remember being up one night and thinking I want to pay honor to my brother in some way. And I was like, L.I.V.E, what can that stand for? And it's live and love intentionally and value evolving into your best self.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
Yes. And it's like intentional, like the intentional piece is really important for me, because what I realized is that me and my brother, there's times where we didn't see eye to eye, but we learned how to communicate with each other. We always was mindful and said, I love you when we got off the phone. And then throughout my journey of grieving, it was being intentional and making space for me to truly heal. So being intentional in all that you do.
Being intentional is so important.
Yes.
Like that's one of usually at the beginning of the year I usually focus on like 2 or 3 things that I want to practice throughout the year, and one of the things this year was intentionality. And to me it's important because a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this in the past too, a lot of times people go through life aimlessly, you know, like just if it happens, it happens, you know, like that type of mindset. But being intentional, it actually helps you with your purpose. It gives you focus, direction, and meaning.
Yes, and it's taking control of that, because one thing that, you know, I want people to know is that my brother, you know, when he was young, he didn't make good choices. So he spent a lot of time behind bars. But when he got out, he was intentional. My brother was never without a job. He made sure that he was working and did what he needed to do. If there was something that he wanted to do, he was automatically on it. And just carrying that intentionality with you, with whatever it is that you want to do. And that's what I had to find. I had to force myself to remember my goals and make the steps that I need to do in order to achieve them. And then embracing your journey, because there's good and there's ugly. There's parts of the journey that you may not want to ever think of, but all that we have gone through is what has made us who we are.
That's true.
And prepared us to get through whatever it is that we need to.
Yeah, you have to be able to go through the good, the bad, the ugly, what seems beautiful, and it's not all of that. Yeah, because all of it is who we are encompassed.
Yes, all of it. And it's when you're aware, being aware of all that you have gone through and using that as your superpower. Like that is to help you to get through life. So with L.I.V.E, I want to share that message with the world, to be intentional in your journey, set goals, live in your purpose, and value the journey along the way. Embrace every day, because we never know when it will be our last day.
That's true.
And I started, so L.I.V.E honors my brother. The brunch is where I bring in my mom. Okay. You know, the women getting together. My mother was that go-to person. She was the person that provided advice to everyone, and you just heard her voice, and it was that soothing voice that you would call like going through something, whether it's something as silly as me seeing a spider, because I hate bugs.
Yeah, I hate spiders too. Anything that crawls is not in
yes. Or having a meltdown, I could just call her. She's like, Kayla, I need you to breathe.
She was your voice of reason and the glue.
Yes. So, and like just the importance of, you know, building women up. My mother was the co-founder of an organization called Voices of Women of Color.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Voices of Women of Color.
So my mom and Janice Fleming created created an organization, and it was all about women empowerment. And when you when we make moves and we decide
change the world.
what, yes, and that's what they were doing. Like, it started as something as simple as them sitting down in the kitchen at the table, figuring out what they're going to do, and it's grown to something.
It went
amazing.
From that to this big organization. It's a movement, actually.
Yes.
A movement, more than just like an organization. It's a movement.
Yes. So growing up and seeing my mother do that, I want to continue that through my brunches and other events to come, where women get together and we let go of our limiting beliefs, of our doubts, and we write down our goals and we make it happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I know that you have an upcoming live brunch coming up soon. Tell us.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm excited because I will be there too.
So
looking forward to it.
This is my third year having this brunch, and it just continues to get bigger and bigger. This year it is sold out.
Oh,
congrats! Yes. I set a goal on how many women I wanted to be there, and let me tell you, when I first said it, I was like, and then like as time went on, I was like, whoever shows up, I'm happy, because at the end of the day, whoever's in the room is going to
the people that are meant to be there will be there.
And now it got to the point where I had to cut ticket sales off, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Listen, faith, when you step out on faith,
and that is what this year was all about. When I first, my first year I did it, I was scared. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it because I want this to happen. The second year, I was like, am I going to do this again? I'm going to do it. This year, I was like, I'm doing it again, and I'm going to put myself out there, because it's crazy. It's like, I want to do this where I share this gift with the world, but I don't want to be front and center. I want to be behind the scenes. I'm not the person like to post a lot, and I'm like, but I have to. Like, you have to build a presence on social media.
I can completely relate to you, because I was always the type of person to stay behind the scenes, but being an entrepreneur and being in business, that I'm learning sometimes you got to be front and center, right there in front of everything, and that's how you promote your business, that's how you build clientele, that's how you network. So I can definitely relate.
Because people have to know. It's like, I know what it is that I want to do, and if I just say, hey, ladies, come to my brunch, they're like, it's just a regular brunch. Like, we'll make sure it's so special. And I'm like, they just got to know.
They want to know the face and the person behind the mission and the purpose.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it authentic. When you know that this person behind just a brunch experience, this person has a story. This person has a purpose. They have passion. They have a mission. And it's like, okay, I will support them, because this is who they are, and this is what the brunch is about.
Yes. Yes. So it was realizing that and getting outside of myself and putting myself out there more. And that's what I did. I posted a lot. I shared a lot. And I connected with women that I don't even know. So it's just been like, things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Not our plan, but God's plan.
No. So I ended up collaborating with this woman named Katie. Now, I initially reached out to her because her Instagram name is Catalina's Connections. And I was like, oh, okay, she makes drinks. Maybe I'll have like someone make drinks at the brunch, which was originally why I reached out to her. And then she was like, we're talking, and she was like, okay, I would love to, like, this is what I want to do, is help women with their events and help them to really make their dreams come true. And I'm like, wait, what? You don't do drinks? So it was like, we built this connection, just like, I feel like it was meant to happen. And she's helped me a lot with posting and promoting my event to her circle. So our collaboration, I feel like that has really helped me to be more known and to get the women to come to my brunch. But it just happened that way. I didn't plan it, but that is what happens when you step outside yourself and you start talking more about your passion, because you realize there's other people in the world that are that want to help you and they want to see you win.
There is. I am all about alignment, and I believe that God will align the right people in the right spaces and the right places for you, as long as you just take that first step. You have to step out on faith, and He'll just guide and order your steps and just put you in alignment along the way.
Yes, and that's what I want to stress so much at my brunch, because this is happening because I took that first step, and then things fall into place. My first year doing my brunch, I don't even know how I did it, because throwing events, you throw the events, but you want the ticket sales to fund something or have some money.
So you're not always like coming out of pocket completely.
So no, that's not what happened the first year. And my first year, the decorator did not show up.
Oh. So how were you able to get everything like decorated and put together?
So my cousin called another friend, another decorator that came, and she came and made it look amazing just in that hour and a half. And that is who's my decorator now, because she did that like just out of nowhere.
She said, sound like a godsend.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen my brunch last year.
I did. I saw pictures. I wasn't able to come because I was out of town last year, but I'll be there in the building this year for sure. I can't wait.
It was beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. Like, I just gave her my idea, my brand, and she ran with it and created.
And puts together something beautiful and amazing.
It was amazing. So she got me for life every year. I know she might get mad at me because sometimes I'm a procrastinator, but she reached out. She's like, Kayla, what we doing? I'm like, okay, yep, I got you.
This is what we're doing.
Elegant Designs. I just got to shout her out, Miss Fiona, Elegant Designs. She's an amazing decorator.
Oh, Fiona's your cousin.
No, my cousin knew Fiona.
Oh, your cousin knows Fiona. Okay,
yes.
I'm familiar with Fiona, yes.
Yes, amazing. So that's my girl.
So it sounds like you have been able to overcome like trauma and things in your past and go from living in survival mode to being more of a purpose-driven individual. If for people that are still stuck in that survival mode and they want to transition into being more purpose-driven, mission-driven, and being in alignment, what are some words that you can give them, like words of advice, words of encouragement to help them along that path?
I think the first step is to kind of look into yourself. Give yourself grace for being in the survival mode, because it's something that we had to do in order to survive. And then pour into yourself. You have to listen to things that's going to pour life back into you. When I lost my mom, like a couple weeks after, my friend sent me this video from Sarah Jake Roberts, and it was entitled "Girl Get Up."
She is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I saw her in Fort Lauderdale recently in real life. It was an amazing experience.
Amazing. I seen her last year in Maryland. Amazing. But Girl Get Up. Yeah. And that is what kind of ignited in me that I have to be intentional in my healing process. That God didn't create me to just be here. God created me for great things, and regardless of what I'm going through, it's something that I can grow through and get through. So it was listening. You have to pour into yourself, because we have to reprogram our minds to truly get out of survival mode, and it's hard.
It's a big reprogramming of a mindset. It is
and
hard, but it's worth it.
It's being intentional, because I don't know when. I have faith that I would have gotten here if my mom and my brother didn't pass. I just don't know how it would have happened, because we get comfortable. We get to a place in life
in our current situation,
and we think that we are okay, we're healed, and we're better. But the reality is that no, we still in survival mode. There's still some things that we have to work on. Had I not done the work and going to therapy, I setting boundaries and being okay with setting that boundary, even if it made someone upset. Oh well. Using my voice.
Yeah, no is a full sentence.
No is a full sentence. Using my voice, and while it may ruffle a couple feathers, my opinion matters.
It does matter.
That happened from therapy and then pouring into myself. So I think it's really important that we listen to things that are going to allow us to see things a different way, and that we pour back into ourselves. We tell ourselves that I love you, and you're gonna be okay. You got this. Like the power of affirmations. I used to have
affirmations is very important.
I used to have my students do it and look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, one day y'all gonna come back and be like, Mrs. Walker, you were right. But yes, so it's those things. Looking back at yourself, giving yourself grace, telling yourself that I love you, and finding avenues, whether it's a podcast, books, that pour back into you to help you, to assist you with rewiring your brain, so you can move from survival mode to being purpose driven and thriving in your life.
So I love that you talk about that. I remember I once heard a quote that said, my current situation is not my final destination. And and you embody that. No matter what you have gone through at that point in time, you didn't let that stop you from being who you were and who you were meant to be, and you kept on with like joy, with courage, with grace, and you kept moving because you know that you were meant for something bigger and better.
Right.
So you talked about Sarah Jakes as being one of the people that you listen to. Are there any other like podcasts, books, or other things that you recommend aside from like affirmations, like reading material, podcasts, or documentaries that you read just for like to refresh in your mind and for a different mindset?
Yeah. So there's a few. Brene Brown. Anything from Brene Brown. I'm trying to think of her. Daring Greatly. Because she talks a lot about vulnerability and shame, and explains it in a way where it's easy to understand, and it not only allows you to see yourself differently, but allows for you to see other people differently. The book Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima.
I have that book.
Oh my God!
I actually just recommended it to one of my clients. He has a daughter who is going through like issues with self-worth, confidence, and I shared with him how when I read that book, it transformed my life. I was on a journey of trying to overcome, a lot of like limiting beliefs, self-doubt, low confidence, and when I read that book, it completely transformed everything. I think that's what literally like set me on a journey quite a few years ago of like, I want something different. Like this is not me. This is not who I identify with, and I know I'm a godly fearing woman, and God has a greater purpose for me. So I love that book. Worthy.
Love it. And then it's just like what has stuck with me is that self-doubt. Because when you doubt yourself, you're doubting God.
Yes. Oh, that's
God
true.
did not give you that vision, that goal, in order for you to just sleep on it.
He did not.
Or to doubt it.
He did not.
So I have to check myself sometimes. Like, okay, who am I doubting? Am I doubting myself or God? And I can't doubt God. Those two books, and then there was a book that I read after. I wanted to read a book that helped me to process my grief, but wasn't like just focusing on grief.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And it was called The Power of Choice, I believe. Edith Edgar is her name, and it was about this woman. She survived the Holocaust, and she lost her parents. She talks about like her journey through grief. She ends up becoming a psychologist, but just it was, giving yourself grace, allowing yourself to feel. It was an amazing.
That sounds like an amazing book. I'm gonna have to pick that up. The
Yes.
Power of Choice.
Yes, and that is really like, I read it and I'm like, everyone needs to read this book, because it was just about choosing. Like, she talked about when she was in a concentration camps, and there were times where the guards would be like, well, make her dance. She was a dancer. She was like, she would just go back to when she was in school and on stage, and then when they were left alone, like they would play around, like try to like do fake fashion shows, but it was just finding joy even in the midst of
In the
their
midst of that,
pain
yes.
and their trauma, and just the power of your minds in certain situations. And I think we've all been through something. We've all gotten through tough times. And sometimes we forget what we're capable of. And we get to a point where we feel stuck. And we think, like, I can't do this, or like, this is just it for me. But no, you've been able to get through all these things.
You survived so many other things that you went through.
Yeah, so it's just our minds and what we have to tell ourselves to get through these things. And true, like, healing was a big piece of it too. But that book is amazing.
I'm gonna have to check that out. It really speaks to me, the power of choice, because every day we are all given choices. We are given the choice of whether we are going to stay stuck and allow whatever we go through to define us, or we're going to overcome it and we're going to use it as fuel to keep going.
Yes.
So that really speaks to me, the power of choice.
Yes, girl. And let them theory.
Let them. Mel Robbins.
Yes, and I love it. So Mel Robbins podcast. Yes. I would suggest, like, let's say you're like, I don't know if I want to read a book yet, or I do Audible all the time in my car when I'm driving to work, but Let Them Theory podcast, because she has a lot of people on her show that talks about different things, and it's amazing. It's very helpful, regardless of where you are in your journey.
I love that. So I'm gonna add that to my podcast list. I listen to like Les Brown, Tony Robbins. I have like a whole list that I listen to on my way to work, on my way to the gym. Just in a different mindset. Sometimes it helps to reprogram your mind and to put you in a different space of mind, if that makes sense.
Yes. And it's so important what we listen to.
Yes.
There's times where, I mean, am I gonna say like I'm positive all the time? No. There's times where I'm just listening to some music or whatever.
None of us is 100% positive,
but like there's like when you are in your head with your thoughts could be your dream killers.
That's true. It's important not to, even if you get in that space, not to stay stuck in that place, because that is what leads to like depression and burnout. When you stay stuck in that mindset and you don't see any way out from that, that's what makes a difference. Everyone may get to that point, but choosing to stay stuck in that's where it can be a dream killer. And
and so you have to feed yourself music that speaks to you, or listening to something, because I think I think about our generation. We have to be intentional.
Yes, we do.
In our healing
especially
process.
Our generation.
Yes, because when we think about all the elements, the health elements that are a part of our community, I think a big piece of it is how we deal with trauma, how we deal with our issues and our problems.
A lot of us don't know how to deal with trauma, how to deal with issues. And I can even say for myself, it took some learning and adapting and adjusting and growth and therapy to learn how to deal with trauma and those things that we go through. A lot of times, like people just put those things to the back, like, okay, that happened.
Right, and that becomes normal.
It's so normal, and that's how people end up in survival mode, because they're like, it happened and it keeps happening. But then choosing to realize, why does this keep happening? Asking those questions. What can I do to prevent this from happening? If I can't prevent it, what can I do to put myself in a better position, so if this happens, I can process it, I can grow from it, I can heal from it, and I don't have to pass this down to generations that come after me, because that's a whole nother generational trauma and everything else related to that.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, I think about my girls, where I want them to be better off than me. Like, I strongly believe my high blood pressure is due to not only it running in my family, but dealing with things and not truly dealing with them, not truly processing them, just pretending like everything is okay, and it's not. So even now, teaching, like, my girls are allowed, express your feelings, talk to me about things. I don't want to continue this cycle. So it gotta end here, so we can be better and live longer lives.
Be better for ourselves, for others, for our children and children's children.
Yes, and share with the world. So I love that you're doing this. Like, I love it because it allows a platform for people to hear from other people that it's possible, and here are the tools. And that's what my brunch is all about. It's just that success, healing, be living your purpose, all of that is possible. Even if you don't see it right now, it can happen.
It can happen.
And there's a community around you that's here to help you.
So I love that you talked about that, and I believe that one of the reasons what that made me decide to do it is because I heard from a friend. She talked about healing out loud. And a lot of times, like when we go through things, we want to stay silent. We want to keep to ourselves. We want to, shut the windows and the blinds and stay in a dark room. And there's so many other people that may be going through something similar, something just as bad, something worse. That when we decide to heal out loud, and you don't have to expose all of your trauma, but if you are able to show other people, like, I have gone through this, I've been through something, and I'm able to heal from it, and you can too. That makes a difference for other people, especially people that look like us.
Yes. And widening that reach. Because there's times where I went into somebody's inbox. I'm like, listen, I know what you're going through, and I'm here, but it's just like, all right, that's cool. But having something for them to see and watch on repeat, and hear from different people that it's possible. And
so they can always go back to it.
Because I go back to many of my podcasts that I've listened to before, or books that I've already read. Like, let me reread this chapter again because I need something.
I don't know if this happens to you, but this happens to me so much. Like when I have a book that I really like and I read it like 2 or 3 times, and every time that I read it, I picked up on something like, like I read this before, but I missed that. Or I'm seeing things differently now that I'm reading it in this current stage that I'm going through in life. So that happens to me all the time.
Yes.
So tell us, how can we stay connected with you?
Follow me on Instagram, KNicole922. And if you go to my Instagram page, I have a link to join my community, my L.I.V.E community, so you can stay updated on any upcoming events. I send out weekly motivations, but that's how you can keep up with me right now.
And I love those weekly motivations. Since I subscribed to your email list, I've been getting those motivations, and I can't tell you like how much it literally like makes my day.
Thank you.
So just keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, I appreciate it, because that's what I want to do. Like, I want to create quote cards at the end of my dance classes. I teach cardio dance on the weekends at the Edge. I give a quote card. Like, words are so important, and I want to be able to create my own quote cards to give to other people and spread that word often. So,
and keep spreading the word and keep being live.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks, Kayla.
All right, thanks.